Alright guys, I want to talk about a very serious topic and a very important video that may apply to you depending on what state you live in, or it may not. Called everyday carry for self-defense instead of just your fist. And why I made this video and why it's important to me to talk about. I feel EDC is, EDC for self-defense instead of just your fist. And what EDC stands for is everyday carry, which means what you carry on you every day for self-defense. I'm not an expert or anything like that, but it's just common knowledge and common things that people who carry firearms and knives on them to defend themselves do. So my everyday carry and why I carry and what's the belief system behind it and all that type of stuff. So this may apply to your state or not. I'm in Texas, so it's more liberal when it comes to guns. Your state may ban guns or it'd be hard to get a gun, like I guess California or something. So this video may not apply to you as much, but still you should listen to it in case you end up moving to another state or something like that, if you're into this stuff. Anyways, why I think you should have everyday carry items for your self-defense, I should talk about what I have first, is my everyday carry, what I carry for self-defense is a few firearms and a knife or two. It's a little bit different every day, but it's usually the same baseline weapons. So what I usually carry are a Glock handgun, and I won't get into calibers and all that, but it's a Glock handgun with a decent caliber. It's I also carry a small handgun, and I probably shouldn't say too many names because then people might try to look into this and then identify me. But in case y'all don't know, I'm anonymous on this video, so I don't want to give my identity away because of where I work and stuff, yada yada yada. It's a very high pressure place that I don't like to be out in the public and talk to people, and all I really know is talk to people. So anyways, I carry a full-size handgun. It's my everyday carry, and I also carry a very small pocket-sized handgun as well, and I carry a knife. It's about $100. It's a very sharp carpenter steel knife, which to me is good because I can't afford more than $100 for a knife with a razor sharp edge that can cut through things very easily. For self-defense, it's really good. And I also carry a cheap $10 knife that's about 5.5 inches, 6 inches long, and it's a very stabby knife, which the other one's more of a slicer. And like I said, my two handguns in my car. My vehicle, when I'm driving, I usually carry an AK-47 just for really bad scenarios where shit goes really, really bad. And I know that sounds like overkill, but it's more of a shorter AK-47, so it's does not have a long barrel. And let me just throw this out there that everyday carry weapons, everyone's got their own idea of what the best one is. It doesn't really matter, just carry something. And that's the whole point of this video, is anything is probably better than your fists or your martial arts or whatever you use. I understand, I don't know martial arts, and I know it's very effective because I got taught a few lessons and used it, and it was really good on people that don't know shit about martial arts. If you know just like 3 or 4 lessons that you just practice over and over, you can basically pull the moves on these people, and you can probably win in a wrestling match or whatever, almost all the time. Not against everyone, not against real athletes or anything, but there are people you can beat using these moves, so it's legit, and I respect martial arts and martial artists, so I'm not talking shit. But they can't beat a gun or a knife. I mean, you can believe you can. And I've had someone tell me that in their jiu-jitsu classes and all this shit and their grappling, that they could disarm your gun if you had a gun, and they told me, well, I bet if you pulled out your gun on me that I could disarm you. And I just thought about it, and I said, really? So you're telling me if I pull out a gun on you is probably what you mean with the intent to not shoot you, then you can disarm me? Then yes, if I'm just pointing a gun at you and I never plan on shooting at you and I'm not going to shoot you because I'm very hesitant, then yes, you can disarm me because it's just a toy at that point. If I pulled out my gun with the intention to take you out, you're not going to fucking disarm me. You've been watching too many fucking movies. And I think that's where this shit needs to come into play. This everyday carry thing. It's way more effective than martial arts, and I'm not talking shit. You don't see the military go and the police, oh, I'm coming in with martial arts techniques and kicks to the balls and fucking slamming you and jiu-jitsu and boxing, and we're gonna fight this country using fucking fists. No. Real life, you fucking use weapons, okay? For combat, whatever the fuck you want to call it. If it's a life and death situation, you want to use a weapon. I'm not talking about two guys that talk shit to each other, that agree to a gentlemanly match in the backyard or in the front yard. What's up, man? I want to fight you. Fuck you. No, fuck you. And they start swinging at each other. They're basically agreeing to a fist fight sometimes. You don't know that that's going to be the case. You might get killed because you might beat a dude up and then he decides to stab you to death. I've seen that. My relative was killed that way. I just throw it out there. No one knows anyway the story. But basically, my relative got in a street fight. He was a good fighter. He could legitimately fight for, the type of guy he was. He was in countless street fights and he was beating guys up left and right, and he lost some fights, but he was very experienced. He ran into some guys. He knocked two of them out. They were smaller. He was bigger. They pulled out a gun and killed him. End of story. I'm not trying to get into that story, but I'm just saying it's just proving a point that everyone can be affected by not carrying a gun. And it can have a huge impact on your life and your family's life if you get killed by somebody who has a gun because you didn't have a gun. And even if you do have a gun, you still might get killed, but your chances of living are a lot better. Even if you had a knife, your chances of living are a lot better than just using your fists. If you have an ego and you just want to prove that you think that you can beat everyone up with your fist, then go ahead. I understand that. You're not, taking into consideration that you really couldn't do shit against a gun. I know you think your fists are like a movie or an anime where you're unbeatable. That's great. You get proven wrong every fucking time. I'm not saying you shouldn't study martial arts, because a dude who studies martial arts and carries a gun in life is way better than me or anyone else who just carries a gun. I mean, they can do it all right. They can use the gun. They can fight without the gun. They're real complete martial artists. They've got the whole gamut. So that'd be even better than fucking what I do. So, I mean, I'm not by no means an expert with the gun. I do go to the range and I do practice, but I'm not no high level guy. I'm just a regular civilian, man. Just a regular guy. And I just do regular shit. Just fucking go to the gun range, shoot here and there, use it for self-defense. And I think it's real important to carry these weapons for self-defense other than just your fists, because in real life people don't just use their fists. And there are videos you can watch online. I did a video called the YNC, the Young News channel, where you can watch that, and it's there are various martial artists trying to fight guys who are carrying a gun or a knife, and you get to see them get basically killed or severely injured trying to use these moves when someone's stabbing them. And these are legit fighters. Some of these guys are world champions. You can read the stories. They got the links. It's legit shit. I mean, I just want y'all to take this into consideration. I'm not doing this to prove a point of being a douche and say, oh, well, weapons can beat this and beat that. I mean, just protect yourself, protect your family. Carry some type of a weapon. And if not for yourself, do it for your family. If you don't want to carry a gun because you think you're gonna you don't need one to defend yourself. Well, do you need one to defend your family if someone breaks in the house or fucking tries to kill them or something? Can you, with your fist and your fucking big 240 pounds, can you stop a motherfucker from killing you all with a tear gun? Or if 3 guys break in, you may weigh 240 pounds, but you got 3 or 4 guys coming at you, grabbing a leg and grabbing your neck at the same time. Good luck, man. I mean, I'm just saying, shit gets real, and it's not, you only get one chance when it comes to shit like that. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm prepared. I'm not saying that, because even with the gun, even if you have a gun, you can still get killed. Even if I have a gun, someone could stop me from pulling out and kill me. They could probably stab me to death before I pull it out. If I get a knife and stab someone, they could stab me back and I can still die. There's no foolproof plan to defend yourself at all. It's always a percentage game. What's the percentage I'm going to win? What's the percentage they win? It's random. Well, it's probably not random, but it's unpredictable. It's a better word. You don't know what's going to happen. You just don't. I'm not saying I'm fully prepared. I'm just saying I'm more prepared than just using my fucking hands, because I feel way more safe knowing I can pull out a gun and take someone out than, get in the boxing stance or whatever the fuck it is. Try to run at me and grab me and pick me up and all this other shit. And, I'm shooting him in the fucking stomach, or he fucking picks me up and kills me. I don't know. Either scenario could happen. The point is, would you rather be the guy with the gun? Why don't you ask the military or the police? They're going to be like, yeah, give me the fucking gun. Give me the fucking knife. Give me whatever weapon works. Because at the end of the day, it's about what works. Not about your ego and about you fucking feeling like you're the baddest motherfucker in the world. And if you fucking were to try and fuck with someone, they shoot you. I mean, and it's the whole thing about street fights. I mean, the way my relative was killed. I mean, he had this idea of real men don't use guns. That's for pussies. Weapons are for pussies. He's a big dude. He's muscled up. He can fight. I understand that. And this whole idea was about it's about street fighting to prove you're the real motherfucker and you're a badass. Yada yada yada. And I always tell him, I say, man, you can't do that. This is when we were younger. I told him to say, man, you can't be doing that type of shit because people don't fuck around like that. Like, you think that that's your state of mind. That you're gonna prove that you're the baddest motherfucker and that you finish fights with your fists. That's not the world's state of mind. That's not the average human being's state of mind. The average human being, what I mean by that is every other person has a different state of mind. It might be 50-50. If you beat a dude up, they're gonna want to kill you, man. They're not just gonna fucking be like, oh, you beat me up, I give up, everything's cool. That motherfucker sees a bottle, he may hit you in the head with it. If he has a knife, he may start stabbing you. He may get his brother to kill you. Getting into these random street fights, you're thinking that everything's gonna be a street fight, like a fist fight. It's not. It's a combat zone. You're in a fucking combat situation. You fucking struck someone and try to hurt them, they're gonna fucking strike you back with more force and more aggression with a weapon. And the only way to escalate is to use a weapon. If someone can't beat you with their fist, you think they're gonna let you walk away and be like, oh, yeah, I lost, everything's cool, you're a better man. No. They're gonna fuck you off and kill you. Sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes. And there's so many videos to prove it. Y'all watch my video called The YNC and How It Changed My Life. It's a video about a website with a lot of killings and street fights and all kinds of shit. So, I just want y'all to be aware that you should carry a gun. Like I said, I carry at least two. And the reason why I carry at least two is if one jams, the other one hopefully will work. There's no guarantees. There have been situations documented where two police have shot at a guy and both their weapons jammed. So there's no guarantee everything's gonna work out. I carry two guns just in case one fucks up, because you can't rely on just one. I also carry one knife at least with me at all times. I should probably carry two at all times, but I carry at least one. Sometimes I carry two. And I usually carry a fixed blade knife, which means it's like a kitchen knife. So it's just in one form, it doesn't fold in half. And you just put it on your side, and my shirt covers it, and it covers my handgun. And I could pull that fixed blade knife out and be ready for the strike. It's right from the hip. Just pull it out and strike right at you, and it won't break. It's a hard fucking $100 knife. It's high quality. I think it's very important to have a fixed blade knife, and it's also good to have a folding knife, in your pocket or something, just for an emergency. I recommend all that, and I really legit recommend that type of stuff. There's no EDC carry that fits one size fits all. Everybody's different. There's no perfect handgun. There's no perfect knife. Don't worry about getting the perfect ultimate weapon, but do your research on what type of gun you carry, what caliber you carry, how much damage it does when you hit someone. Is it gonna fuck them up? Is the bullet powerful enough? Is it gonna go through and hit something on behind you or behind that person and kill the person behind them on accident, like your family or something? Don't do that shit. Study the gun you have. Make sure you got the proper bullet tip, that the bullet tip explodes on impact rather than going through shit and killing everyone behind that person, because that's the worst thing you could ever do. Research bullet types, research caliber differences. Some are more powerful than others. I would never recommend you get a 380 ACP handgun. Go with at least a 9mm and above for self-defense. You want something you know is going to kill. 380 will kill anybody for sure. Any gun will. But the chances of you killing that person before they can kill you are lower with use of 380. If you Google any videos about a 380, you'll see that they're less effective, and they're usually recommended or not recommended. It's one of them 50-50 things. So that should tell you that much of a turmoil about whether a gun's good or not, you should probably avoid it. And what else would I recommend? Again, at least a 9mm or up. You want at least a 9mm or up handgun, and you want something that's high capacity, because if you've ever practiced shooting, you will know that you're not as accurate as you think you are. I promise you, with the handgun, you're not going to fucking hit what you're planning on hitting 9 times out of 10. or not 9 times out of 10, I'm exaggerating. Let me put it to you this way. Go to a target practice, go to the range, get an instructor to help you shoot. It's a master, but these guys are usually masters, like legit. And I got it. The guys that were training me could shoot with their eyes closed. They shoot the first one open, and they get like the next 4 shots in the same hole with their eyes closed, because this is all they practice is shooting with handguns and rifles. And they got different levels of proficiency. You can get certificates for them. And learn from one of these guys and see how high your level can go. And I promise you, if you've never really shot with a handgun, you're probably not as good as you think you are. I'm not as good as I thought I was, and I'm still not that good, but learning something is better than nothing. You'll at least be able to hit a human with the handgun. You may not be the best ever, but you'll be able to take a guy out quick. And that's all I have to, I got more to say about it. So just keep that in mind when it comes to everyday carry. Keep, again, a caliber that's strong enough. And another thing that I was told was never bring a handgun to a rifle fight. So what that means is handguns are great, and they really are great. I mean, they're a good tool. But I do carry a rifle in my car because you cannot fight a dude with a rifle with a handgun efficiently. He might kill you pretty fast. Rifles are bigger caliber bullets, so they have more gunpowder and they hit harder and cause more damage when the bullet hits you. So you'll die a lot faster, and you'll get knocked over probably, and you'll be shocked from the trauma, and you won't be able to fight back. A lot of guys, when you see videos, a lot of times when you see guys on videos get shot with a handgun, a lot of them are still alive and they're still walking and they're still shooting back at you. And that's because the handgun bullet is usually lighter, or it can be heavier, but the gunpowder is a lot less. The gunpowder in a handgun bullet is a lot less because it's in a handgun, whereas the rifle usually have really big cartridges compared to a handgun with a lot more pressure, which means a lot more power and speed that is coming at you at. And when that thing hits you, it's like getting hit by a fucking truck, and it's on your inside, so everything's exploding. So Google the difference between a rifle caliber and a pistol caliber and the tissue damage it does. And a doctor did a video on it. You can probably watch it on YouTube, or she did it on, or was it on Google? Either way, she did a whole story on it about how when you get shot with a handgun, the percentage of survival is like 50-50 or some shit in a hospital. But when you get shot by a rifle, that you almost always die. And I don't know what caliber they were using. There's different rifle calibers, so I'm not going to tell you they're all the same. But the most common you probably run into for combat rifles are going to be 5.56 or 2.23, which is what the AR-15 uses, or the 7.62 by 39 for the AK-47. And those are usually very common cartridges that most people would use in a combat situation or self-defense. There are other cartridges, whatever. All I would say is if a guy pulls out a handgun and you've got a handgun, the chances are you're going to shoot each other. There's Google that. There are stories of guys shooting each other. This is recent. Both pulled out a handgun and both died from their injuries. A guy came to another guy's house, tried to rob him in his driveway. He pulled out a handgun and shot this guy. And when he shot this guy shot back. The robber shot back, and they killed each other. The robber died when he got in the car. He died, driving down the street with his friend. And the dad died there in front of his kids in the parking lot. So just because you have a gun doesn't mean you're going to survive. It just means that you got a better chance of surviving. Also, if you would have had a rifle, that fight could have ended pretty fast. That rifle round will destroy you, like it'll obliterate you. The handgun round may not kill you right away, and you may still be able to fight back when you get shot with it. And you'll survive for a few seconds longer or whatever. I mean, there's no guarantee you're going to die, but if you do end up dying, you may bleed out very slowly. With the rifle round, it's just massive destruction. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that with the rifle round, depending on what caliber you got, it can go through the person you shoot and go behind them and kill whoever's behind them and go into a house. So maybe you want a 5.56, which is a better self-defense round. You can get an AK-47 with a 5.56 round in it, which is a light, really explosive round. So it does a lot of tissue damage if you got a hollow point. But it doesn't go through people that often, I don't think, depending on what caliber you got. It's what's recommended for self-defense for a home. On a lot of videos, so I would keep that in mind. And I know I'm rambling on and giving you too much information if you're not into guns and stuff, but I just want y'all to keep that in mind. And I think it's very important to know about self-defense and guns. And I do realize a lot of people are afraid of guns and shoot a gun. I just took a girl, for the first time to shoot a gun, and she was very afraid and cried because she didn't want to squeeze the trigger. And after she squeezed the trigger, she was very happy. When we got in the car, she was like, I'm so glad I built up the courage to shoot a gun. And I said, you know what? She goes, now I genuinely feel like, maybe I could defend myself with a gun. We went back a week later, and she shot multiple rounds without being scared. So yeah, you can be scared as an explosion. Put on some earmuffs, put on some eye protectors, and you can squeeze them rounds off left and right at the gun range, and you'll be used to it like nothing. Little girls do it. There are cops that are girls that do it. They're small framed. There are little kids in Iraq shooting AK-47s. If a little 12-year-old can shoot an AK-47, you can shoot a damn little pistol. It ain't gonna hurt you. It ain't gonna do nothing to you. You'll be alright. Just shoot it. Put some ear protection on, and you're good. Don't fuck your ears up. You'll go deaf. I got a relative who's going deaf from shooting handguns without hearing protection. So, and that's legit. I'm not making that. It's real. A handgun going off will be the loudest thing you've ever heard in your life. So make sure you wear ear protection if you can. If you're just defending yourself in your house and you're shooting someone with a handgun, it might not be that loud because you'll be extremely scared and for your life. So that makes your hearing dampen. That being said, just think about everyday carry for self-defense and all that. And also another point that I wanted to bring up was how I feel about this, just all in this video, because I usually don't talk about guns too much in self-defense, but instead of making a separate video, I'll throw this in here. How I feel about the child safety aspect of having a gun and using it, because you got children in your house, and it's very dangerous to have a gun in your house, and I agree with that. I'm not like one of them guys who can tell you that guns are all good. The truth is they can be extremely bad. One of the most highest killings in your house from that people die from a gun is people killing their own family members on accident. So let's say I carry a gun, and then I wake up in the middle of the night because I hear someone in the living room, and I automatically assume that it's a fucking intruder and someone broke in my house. And the first thing I do is always have my hand on my gun, and I draw and start shooting. If you Google that, there's a bunch of fucking people who die like that. They've killed their kids, they've killed toddlers, they've killed their parents, everything you can imagine. Google it, and I promise you this is a fact, and this is true. There is a bunch of deaths that have occurred from people killing their own family on accident because they were quick to grab the gun and shoot someone they love because they thought someone broke in their house. Don't go straight for the gun. Always use thoughts, don't use reactions. I know if you ever go to a training academy, they teach you to be instinctual with your movements and instantly draw, draw fast, draw quick. It's instinct, it's muscle memory. Don't do that shit when you're at your house or when you're anywhere when it comes to a gun. Use your brain before you pull or draw, because it's not like instinctual when you throw a punch in martial arts where you can just throw a punch and a kick and or whatever instinctually and not much damage will occur. A gun will kill you really fast, so you only get one chance, so don't fucking make a mistake when it comes to that. And that is my downfall with guns, and that is the thing that I don't like about guns, is how dangerous they are and how really dangerous they are. I always got to keep myself in check. I don't withdraw my gun out the holster unless I'm going to unload it in a safe direction, do a weapons check to make sure a round's in there. I will take out the round, and then I'll cycle the gun, which means pull back the top over and over and over to make sure that it's cycling correctly. I may clean the gun here and there, and then I'll chamber another round and put it back into the holster and make sure it's ready to go. And that's pretty much it. But I always make sure it's in a safe direction and it's not pointing towards anyone in the house, and my finger is never near the trigger. And always cognizant that I'm carrying a handgun on me, because it's the most dangerous fucking thing there is a handgun. I mean, it's extremely fucking dangerous. It's not a toy, it's not a game. I know a guy that used to live down the street from me who accidentally killed his sister with an AK-47. This is a true story. A guy lived down the street from me, and he was cleaning his AK-47. He had a round chambered. Well, he had the slide back or something. He pulled the trigger to make the slide release forward, and the round went off. So his 10-year-old sister was next to him, and the round hit her in the stomach, and she bled to death and died right there on the spot. And she was crying and everything, if you read the story online. And it was a horrible situation, and that's one thing I don't want to have to live through. That's one thing that scares me. It makes me think that one day that could happen to me, because it could. I could fuck up and accidentally kill someone I love by pulling the trigger wrong or doing something stupid. And I'm just giving you a realistic view of how it is to have a handgun. You know, even if you're gonna do everyday carry, it's very dangerous, extremely dangerous. You gotta do what you can not to fuck around with the gun or play with it. Don't point it at your friends or family or anybody. And just to be cool, and you think that nothing bad can ever happen, don't even take that chance. It's not worth it. It's the most stupidest thing in the world, and there's no point in playing around with the gun. So just make sure, you know, you're very safe with your gun if you do decide to carry a gun. And I think that it's good to have it, because you have to defend your family and your friends. Someone breaks in your house, do it for them, if not for yourself. Carry a knife in case your gun jams. Go for that throat, stab them in the throat. Try to cut off their head if you can, whatever. I'm not saying be violent, but someone's trying to kill your family. Do what you gotta do. Extreme aggression and violence to match it, you know. Yeah, I think it's very important. It's something very important to talk about, because I don't want y'all to go through bad shit and experience, you know, horrible situations. So if you can, carry a gun, whether it be a shotgun, a rifle, a handgun. Something's better than nothing, and I want you to do some research about this. I want y'all to go online and watch YouTube videos about self-defense with a handgun. I want y'all to Google home invasions, call on 911, and you'll get to hear stories. And you'll hear stories of home invasions by criminals, and you'll hear the stories will be both people who didn't have a handgun when their home was invaded, and people that did have a handgun when their home was invaded. Usually when you get your home invaded and you don't have a handgun on you, a lot of people, innocent people, die. When you hear these YouTube video 911 stories, but when you see the people with the handgun, the intruder got killed on the way in the door, or when he was in the house, or a firefight ensued and the intruder took off, or he shot the homeowner, and the homeowner may have shot him back, and then, you know, who knows what happens after that. You could still die. It's not a guarantee you're gonna live, but the percentage is a lot higher. And I just want y'all to take that into consideration, that 911 takes a really fucking long time to get to your house. When you call 911, by that time, you're probably dead, or your family's dead, or a relative's gonna get beat to death or something. There are some really strong guys that can beat the shit out of people to death, and the only way to kill them is with a gun. If you got some big 260-pound motherfucker that's muscled up and 6'6", 6'4", 6'5", and he can cause some damage, well, you could turn him into a bitch with a handgun and a knife, I promise you. You can make him fucking instantly disappear. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. Do it to protect people. Do it to protect yourself. And I don't want to sound violent or bad in this video. I'm a really good person. I try to do my best to treat people good and be nice to people. I think that's the right way to live life. I just want y'all to know what I wish someone would have told me when I was younger. Because I didn't start carrying weapons till maybe a few years ago. Maybe if I would have knew it when I was really young, that I would have had a better chance, you know, of being safer. I'm just glad nothing bad happened at that point. And I just think y'all should know this before it's too late, because every day that passes, it might be too late. You don't know what's going to happen that day. And I've had a lot of bad, weird shit happen in life, and I'm sure everyone has. So just keep that in mind, guys. So this video's my everyday carry, and our everyday carry for self-defense instead of just relying on your fists. And why everyday carry is very important. If you can't carry a gun, carry some knives and carry a fucking pepper spray. And I recommend the $50 can of pepper spray. It's called an MK9. It's a big ass can. Really big. You know, it's like a big hairspray bottle of pepper spray. And that shit will make big grown guys quit. When you hear people being immune to pepper spray, it's usually that little midget ass bottle that you think cops carry, the little small one. The ones that they don't really get immune to, that I haven't seen too many people be immune to, that I've seen dudes fold, that were big dudes, because I've seen them get sprayed by it. It's a big ass can called MK9 pepper spray. You give them a face full of that shit, and the whole face gets covered. Not the little midget can that's cheap. Buy the $50 can of MK9 pepper spray. Hit a dude in the face with that, and you can defend yourself. Anything you want to do, he's disabled. At that point, if you need to slam his head on the ground, concrete, take him out, choke him out, now you can defend yourself. Run away if you want, whatever. But I recommend that if you can't carry a gun, even if you can carry a gun, carry some MK9 pepper spray. Pepper spray can work. Tasers can work. $500 taser, but they don't always work. They have a failure rate, very high failure rate for a lot of people on taser. I've been tased before. It just is a demonstration, not because I was doing anything wrong, but so just keep in mind that you got the MK9 pepper spray option. You got the taser option. They make a $500 taser or $400 taser option. It works on some people. It's better than nothing. Carry a knife to end the situation if you have to. Preferably you want a 7-inch knife, which is now legal in Texas. Full-size knives, swords are even legal in Texas, but no one should carry that because you might cause alarm. But 7-inch knife is illegal. You can carry a 7-inch, 8-inch, 9-inch knife in Texas now. And there's no size limit in Texas anymore. So I would recommend it. If you Google anything, it's recommended you carry at least a 7-inch knife. The best self-defense knife that's considered the best is an opinion, but the highest rated combat knife for self-defense and all that is usually the United States Marine Corps knife they have by Kabar. It's like $100, $80 to $100 knife, and that's the 7-inch one. It's really extremely hard and tough. May not be the sharpest, but it'll get the job done. If you get in a wreck in your car and you need to get that safety belt off, well, it might get jammed, so you get that knife out and you cut that motherfucker off, and that's why you carry your knife. It's multi-purpose. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. You don't have to comment on shit on any of my videos, so I could really care less who comments. I just want y'all to take this shit with you, a little bit of this knowledge. What I call knowledge, just information really. I don't even mean to sound arrogant, but I want y'all to take this information with you, and I want y'all to apply it. And I want you to be safe and protect people and protect yourselves and protect other people when they need to be protected if you can. Don't put yourself in too much danger. But if you have the means to protect and help people, then by all means do it. Just be a general good person, And everything I talked about, I want you to Google it if you want. If you're interested in this stuff, I want you to Google it and verify it for yourself and see that what I'm telling you is legit and it's true, so that you can have a better understanding of how to protect yourself and stuff. So if you can practice martial arts plus carry a gun, that'd be the best way. So I don't practice martial arts because I don't got the time. I work too damn much and I'm lazy. But other than that, yeah. So y'all have a good day and enjoy the video.